How do you go from $16 billion in net worth to getting probed by the DOJ and SEC, and on top of that, going broke at the same time within 3 days? This is incredible. Hi guys, I want to give you an update on this whole drama and this fallout of what's going on with SBF and FTX. So as you can see, he's getting the DOJ and the SEC. These are the financial watchdog, I guess, regulator institutions in the United States. They are going to look into him and his activities. So technically he resides in the United States, but FTX International is not a United States company, but FTX US is. So there's quite a possibility that the regulators will shut down FTX.US just to prevent things like that from happening again in the future. Now, if you are a customer of FTX, try all you can to get your money out, because there really is no guarantee that FTX US will survive at the end of this. So he's looking for, I think, $9 billion right now to save FTX. So that's the top news about FTX. But let's go into some of those unofficial rumors that's been going on Twitter, and I'm pretty sure y'all have seen some of it, but I just want to go over them. And remember, these are all sources, all claimed by sources close to SBF, so they are not verified. Keep that in mind. But it's always good to read a conspiracy or a rumor, so keep that in mind while you read this. So here's a story from someone supposedly to be inside of the SBF's company FTX, and they spoke about some of the inner workings of FTX and how we got to where we are today. So let's read it. He's a close source of FTX. Sam ruined the lives of many of his own current and former employees. Everyone at FTX is shocked and disappointed. They're all fighting for Sam until they found out what happened on Twitter. Sam's inner circle are the only people who knew what was going on. So apparently this employee claims that the employees didn't know. People who work on the website, on the trading firm, did not know, except for Sam and his inner circle. That's very common in a giant fraud. Only a few people knows what's going on, and they continue to do things like that. So many employees had their life savings on FTX. Sam promoted FTX as a trusted bank internally and externally. Bonuses to the FTX employees usually consist of FTX.com stock and FTT token. Most of the employees kept their funds on the platform. They either direct deposited their salary or transfer it to FTX.com the moment they received it. Employees actively worked on product that made it easier to automatically send money to FTX. This was promoted both internally and externally. So it's very common for a public company to grant stocks to their employees because they use their, but this one here, employees, they get paid in bonuses, whatever, for their work. But the moment they get paid the bonuses, they transfer the money to FTX itself to buy more FTT token, thinking that they're getting a piece of the company that's growing rapidly, that has a great future. They might, double or triple their money in a very short time. And people basically work for free because FTX pays the bonus. They transfer the money right back into FTX to invest in the FTT token, which we know it's going to the shitter right now. So in October 2021, FTX bought out Binance's shares. Binance was an investor in FTX, so FTX bought them out, which was promoted as a big win internally by Sam and others. Sam and Ramnick give employees the opportunity to invest in FTX.com for the first time at a 50% discount. The limit to this was $250K, which could be matched up to $250K investment from FTX US at market rate. This will bring the total to $500K. They heavily marketed this deal to all employees. So if you're an employee who works at FTX, you can buy FTX token for a 50% discount, up to $250K total. Of course, this is obviously very attractive, right? If you can get a token at 50% discount to market rate, you are probably going to invest pretty heavily in that, especially a token with that's part of a company that's been growing fast. So all the employees got suckered into it, and they invest their life savings pretty much into FTX token. Okay, let's keep going. Most saw this as an amazing opportunity. Of course, me too, as a degen. Everyone on top leadership down to customer support. Shares had to be earned at FTX, and no employees received equity when they were hired. Employees were given 2 weeks to send money to FTX before Thanksgiving, and FTX was relentless on following up on it. So that's another sign that the company is hungry for money. So they hounded employees to send money to FTX. They only had 2 weeks to do it. Sam and others marketed this as an opportunity to make 100% of your money overnight and 4 to 5x over a few years. That should have been a red flag right there. So if any investment, quote unquote, opportunity came up that says, hey, you can make your money, 100% of your money overnight, and you can 4 to 5 times your money in a few years, there's always a red flag. Either this, whatever they're promoting, needs cash fast, or this is a Ponzi scheme straight up. So the majority of people invested in more than they should. Everyone believed in Sam. Many have now lost their entire life savings because they saw Sam and FTX as a safe bet. They believed in him. Employees now fear the money has all been sent to Alameda, which is exactly what's going on. When you buy FTX token to FTX, they send that money to Alameda to do leverage trade with your money. Anyway, keep going. On June 6, 2022, Sam claimed he was hiring more people while others cut jobs at Twitter. He went on CNBC to talk about this. Sam cut 20 people the very next day. That's very disingenuous. Employees found out that they were being fired when they couldn't speak in Slack chat anymore. They were removed individually, one by one. Sam did not fire employees directly. He only posted messages in the internal Slack hours after firing, and more or less blamed the employees for not being cultural fits. Quote unquote, not a cultural fit was a very common phrase. Employees that disagree with Sam on things were quickly removed. Sounds like a dictatorship to me. So this is, if you want to create a culture of yes men around you, that's what you do. Finally, one last thing that is not widely known is the power dynamics of FTX. Nishat's longtime girlfriend Claire was hired in January after living with Sam for months in a shared apartment in Albany. I wonder what's going on in that apartment. She was immediately promoted to an executive and head of HR. She had the power to fire anyone she deemed to be not a cultural fit and who disagreed with Sam. Claire ran the show day to day alongside Constance. I don't know who these people are, but apparently they are the inner circle. Sam's inner circle consisted of himself, Constance, Nisha, Claire, and Gary. A few ex-Alameda traders that joined the FTX venture team also knew what was going on. That was it. So this is a very typical story of insiders who knew what's going on, but they kept the show going just to enrich themselves, while all the employees and people are in the dark. Now, follow up, there are multiple employees came out and say, oh, the above, this is not entirely true. So they actually have a follow-up. Here's a follow-up to the letter about the original story. So the previous letter was mostly correct, but I would like to correct some details. Bonuses were usually paid out in FTX equity or cash. Some early employees received FTT when the token was first created, but never after that to my knowledge. It's true that you could invest in FTX internationally up to $250K and 50% discount. You could also invest in FTX US at a market rate, but there was no $250K cap on that. It was not heavily marketed to employees. The previous letter suggested it was if Ramnick was made this decision together with Sam. I think this is false, and that Ramnick was to simply help coordinate it. So it probably was Sam's idea. The marketing of make 100% of your money overnight and 4-5x in a few years is false. Okay. The job cut part is true. There were many other smaller invisible job cuts throughout that were not mentioned in your post. The information about Claire may be true, but I cannot confirm it. The inner circle described previously is not accurate. It does not include Caroline or Ramnick. I would be surprised if Claire or Constance knew. There are only 2 ex-Alameda traders at FTX Ventures. None of them knew. Okay, that's a big correction. I personally doubt anyone other than Sam, Nisha, Gary, Caroline actually knew the full picture of what was going on. You could perhaps piece a story together from the amount of profits versus the amount of spending investment, but overall, I don't think anyone knew what was going on behind the scenes to cause this discrepancy. I was a high-level employee and I had no idea. Sam had multi-form apartments in Bahamas. Nisha and Claire shared a room together in that apartment. The other rooms were being occupied by FTX employees. There was nothing suggestive going on there. Okay, that clears up that rumor. There were likely two inner circles. Circle 1, people that knew what was going on, Sam, Caroline, Nisha, and Gary. I strongly believe that nobody else was a part of this group. I have had multiple other employees who have confirmed this to me. I've also talked to FTX venture team members, Amy, Ramit, and both ex-Alameda traders, about finances in great details, and I believe this wasn't part of their understanding. People who were made aware of the situation before the public was Sam, Caroline, Gary, Nisha, Ramit, Constance, blah, blah, blah. This one is a little less clear to me. This group is not like the criminal. They were most likely pulled in once shit hit the fan. Every other employee was completely in the dark. It's worth noting that people communicating vaguely with employees were Constance and Claire, which is why I imagine most employees thought they were part of the circle. I doubt this because they were definitely part of the circle too. So this follow-up letter is more about, clarification on a few things, but in the end, it's really the same thing. Like, people didn't know. The employees didn't know. A lot of people didn't know. And mostly only Sam and a few other people knew exactly what they were doing. They were leveraging the customers' funds, and then they were betting on it with their funds. So, man. And then even more juice. SBS has been locked in the... Well, this is a parody. We're not going to read this. But apparently there's another tweet from supposedly a WhatsApp chat between people who actually knew what's going on. So this is the guy who was committing fraud. He said, hey, want to know what's crazy? Sam started allowing employees to buy equities at last round valuation. And he's like, keep laughing. So now everyone reply, it should be repaid their bonus back into the stock. And then he's laughing. So basically he didn't have to pay any cash bonus. Yeah, here's like an executive or insider laughing about the employees contributing their bonuses back into FTX. So basically they didn't get paid. They just returned their money to FTX, which gambled their money away. So this is just one juice that's going on. Apparently there's even more juice. So hold on to your seatbelts. Remember Zusu, this guy? Yeah, the guy from 3AC who gambled away all the people's money and went broke. Suddenly, all these famous scammers came out of hiding and they started talking about Alameda. So this one is about, if I had to guess, it was widely known that Alameda had been internalizing FTX client liquidation for years. So apparently, it was widely known in their circle that Alameda has been doing this for years. 3 days of 99% sell-only liquidation flow from Luna and many other coins likely would have opened up a large loss from giving the sell knowledge. So he's claiming that SBF started the whole Luna thing. So, Zuzu just, these criminals are trying to pile on these unfounded claims since SBF is underwater right now. So, but here's even more funny business. Okay, so this guy has a really good thread here. So let's talk about this. So did you see the viral tweets about the CZ and SBF conspiracy? I read about that tweet and I actually have a screenshot of it before it got deleted. So here's the tweet right in question. This is the tweet. So it's about SBF is responsible for Luna's collapse. CZ knew this, the CEO of Binance. SBF intentionally took down 3AC. That's why you see Zusu was pretty salty about this. SBF moved users' fund from FTX to support Alameda post 3AC collapse. So SBF, after they collapsed 3AC and Luna, SBF moved more users' fund to FTX to support Alameda. As CZ approached SBF for this matter, but was ignored. And that's why CZ had no choice to make the tweet as a last resort. And that started the whole collapse of FTX. So this is from someone inside of Huobi who's pretty close circle with CZ, who has insider information about this whole thing. So now this guy is following up about that tweet after he deleted it. So did you see that I deleted it? Well, you did. I saw that. So there's a darker story you don't know. Uh-oh. Let's get your popcorn. So during his Twitter space, a notable respected person came on stage and shared a story about Sam, causing the Luna crash and taking down 3AC. And CZ knew this. All right, let's get into the juice. Apparently, CZ warned Sam about his reckless actions on multiple occasions, but SBF ignored him. As things got worse, CZ saw no choice but to make the issue public. This led to the infamous tweet by CZ 3 days ago that took down FTX. CZ has no choice. So just to give you more details, Sam was doing this and then CZ knew of it, and CZ warned him privately to say, hey Sam, you gotta stop doing this because you are highly leveraged about customers' funds and you shouldn't touch customers' funds like that. But SBF totally ignored CZ, and then CZ made the choice to go public. Now, when you go public with this information, it will cause a bank run on the FTX token. And that's exactly what happened, and it caused the downfall of FTX. This story was shared living in my space, in his Twitter space. I asked for the source to ensure that it's not misinformation, and that turned out to be a very close friend of CZ. The speaker was a senior person at a major centralized exchange. My tweet went viral, instantly reaching 1 million people. So why did I delete the tweets? Well, since this information was meant to be confidential, and the person who shared it immediately faced significant pressure and threats. I was also flooded with DMs. To avoid this courageous person getting in trouble, I immediately deleted the tweets. Well, the tweet, once you put something out on the internet, it's out there. This shows the complete lack of transparency in crypto. We all talked about decentralization and self-regulation, yet some of the biggest names had no idea of the things happening behind the scenes. How is this decentralization? How can crypto mature and flourish with all this BS? I will continue to host, blah, blah, blah. So, 4 days ago, FTX going bust would have sounded insane, yet here we are. So yeah, again, we'll talk about DeFi, decentralization, but when you have centralized exchanges, when you have people who owns these exchanges, you're going to have things like that happening in the background that us, the retail investors, the employees will have no idea about. And we are pretty much the boiling frogs. Remember Wonderland? We are the boiling frogs in the pan, and we don't know that it's actually boiling us alive. And that's the reality. So that's why you have to be careful when you put your money in anything. And we got even more drama. So apparently, this is I guess I hate the word influencer in crypto. He's saying straight out in public, say, hey, any FTX employees willing to change my account country of residence to Bahamas to facilitate withdrawal, I am offering $1 million and unlimited legal fees. DM him. So if you're stuck, if you're not in Bahamas, you're not able to withdraw your money. So there's news right now about that people residing in Bahamas is able to withdraw a small amount of their money from FTX. So this guy is like, hey, if you're an employee, can you change my residence to Bahamas so he can start withdrawing? So he's trying to get his money out. So he definitely has more than $1 million in there. And then Twitter influencers publicly offering bribes to FTX employees in an attempt to bypass the bankruptcy process, with some even being successful. Fascinating to see a form of minor fraud being openly organized in social media. So yeah, FTX is going through a bankruptcy process, which means that liquidators will come in and try to get them the pieces of the company in order to pay people back. But if you're trying to bypass this process by asking an employee to commit fraud in order to withdraw your money, you, sir, are committing fraud. So don't do this. If you do this, you might face jail time. Anyway, that is the current update on this whole, FTX drama. But keep it in here. I will keep you guys updated. Who knows what other news might come out in the next few days. And oh yeah, I forgot one big thing. BlockFi, it's pretty much dead. they are pausing all withdrawals in the wake of FTX collapse. So that's just one example of another company getting dragged into this collapse. And it's very, very similar to how Luna did it. When Luna collapsed, a lot of companies were dragged or went bankrupt because of that. And BlockFi seems to be one of the first companies to go under because of this. Be careful. Get your money out of all exchanges is my recommendation. And hold your money in your own wallet that you control. Remember, not your wallet, not your coins. So with that said, I hope to see you guys in the next updates.